flora goes with vegetation, most of what you've seen on the way up here is also growing at the top of Grand Canyon. Pretty much anything outside the desert. The only thing that's growing up there natively that's also can be found in the desert is the prickly pear cactus. That's pretty much because if there's a weed equivalent to the cactus bloom, it's a prickly pear. It'll grow anywhere and everywhere if you have a chance. There are dozens of species of it the world over. But there's juniper, pinon, there's a bunch of live trees up there. There's ponderous pine, oaks, cedars, Douglas fir, might even some aspens up there. But most of what we saw coming up is up there too. As far as fauna goes, again, carnivores largely universal across the state. We lost the bobcat earlier, through there. That's the same up here. What I talked about up there. Seen them in the canyon too. Lobo, not as much. Lobo have been seen in the canyon, but they don't have like a permanent population up the Grand Canyon yet. But they've been seen there. There's a good chance we'll see some elk or deer up there. They wander around the canyon, dry field, and very good information of them. And there's at least two, there could be more, but there's at least two, I thought it was birds of feral horses that wander around the canyon area where we're going, the park area where we're going. If you see any horses down here, anywhere, if we're anywhere below that cliff line in front of us, we're on top of that, horses, those are not the feral horses, those are Navajo horses. I've just run into that before. But we might get lucky to see them from time to time. California condor is in the canyon. Condor are endangered. They've been successfully introduced for decades now. Condor are just massive birds. They're very, very large and very big in their time. They kind of look like oversized turkey vultures. They're the condor was in the van with them, had its talons next to wings folded in and upright. Or everything besides our two gentlemen in the back. You two condor will be coming above your heads. In the middle, it'd be right about level with the very tip of your head, and the first is kind of come up the temples, eyebrow area. They're very big birds. If a condor was on a perch in the middle of that here, it could fit. Besides, you spread its wings full spread. Its wings are growing a little bit outside either side window. On average, a mature condor has about a 3-meter wingspan. A little less than a 3-meter wingspan. They're giant birds. They're in the canyon. A lot of the other raptors, eagles, osprey, vultures, ravens, everything going down. They get woodpeckers, sparrows, wrens, all that stuff in the canyon too. Of the 13 species of rattlesnake in Arizona, several are found in the canyon, but there's only one that's found up the canyon and nowhere else. It's known as the Grand Canyon Pink, because over time it adapts to have its scales to a similar reddish hue as the red walls of the canyon. It's just this bright pink snake. It looks fake, but it isn't. I've only ever seen one once in my life. But you can Google it, go to Google image search, type in Grand Canyon rattlesnake, it'll pop right up. It's just a bright pink snake. It looks fake, but it is not. Only found in Grand Canyon. Lots of variety of rodents, raccoons, rabbits, and hares inside, mice, rats. Variety of insects, a lot of your standard insects up there too. There's a little more lush, a little more moisture up there than in the desert. There's a lot. And this does bring us to our second pop quiz of the day, and anyone can answer this one. But does anyone, again, I go for 2 to 3 guesses, and I'll let you guys, but does anyone know the most, what's considered the most dangerous animal or creature in Grand Canyon National Park? I'll give you a hint that I haven't mentioned it yet today. What's the most dangerous animal or creature in Grand Canyon National Park?
Wolf?
What was that?
Wolf?
Wolf? It's not a wolf, that's a good guess. Like a donkey or something. They do have mules up in the canyon, but it's not bad either. That's a good guess. Not one of you. What's the most dangerous animal or creature in the park? Snake. Oh, it is not a snake. That's a good guess. Okay, that's 3. I'll tell you. But those are all good guesses. What I like is not the answer, but what I like when people say is people or humans or man. That's not the answer, but I like people say that. When I was first asked this question, I thought about it and said, most dangerous animal or creature in the park. Thought about it and I said, it's the person next to me pushing you in. But no, it is the ground squirrel. This is where everyone goes, what? And now it's confused or chuckles a little bit. It is the ground squirrel. You can look it up on Google, it'll tell you the same thing. And that's because the ground squirrel is very aggressive, very territorial when it thinks it should be getting food. I've been up to the villages with family and dropping peanuts on the ground squirrel and showing them in its cheeks and gnawing on a peanut. What a wonderful day to be a ground squirrel. And they leave. 30 minutes, 45 minutes go by and another family's coming through. And all that ground squirrel understands is, people give me food. And I don't have any food. They'll start chattering. People will think, oh, how cute. They'll start running around and still chattering. You might tap the ground in front of your feet or tap your shoes and run away. And people will think, oh, how cute. And then they'll start jumping on you and scratching you and biting you and it will not stop. So you can go to the clinic and get a rabies shot. Just be safe. Every sign, every poster that says don't feed anything has the picture or silhouette of a ground squirrel. Again, you can Google it, you can look it up. They are considered the most dangerous animal or creature in the park. A bit of a fun fact, but also a safety tip. Don't feed anything. Nothing up here needs your encouragement. Over on our right, as soon as we come into view, that is the Little Colorado River Gorge. If we had continued about a mile north of the roadway we were on from that rest stop, we would have crossed the Little Colorado. Where you cross it back there, it's about anywhere from 150 to 200 feet down to the riverbed, or 50 to maybe 80-ish meters down. Here, 5 miles away from where that crossing would have been, it's over 1,000 feet down now, so over 300 meters down, and getting deeper as it grinds off towards the Grand Canyon. So far away we can't even see it yet. We're going to shadow the Little Colorado River Gorge, go about halfway up to the park. Again, most of this land historically was Pueblo land, mostly the Hopi. A lot of their story is origin stories deal with the Little Colorado River and its gorge, as well as the main Colorado River and the Grand Canyon. So while we're here, I'll tell you their origin mythos. We're here and love things we're seeing. And it's fun. I like it, it's nice. But you gotta know some things in context. Because according to the Hopi, we are currently living in the 4th world. There were 3 worlds before this one. Each fell into kind of abandonment or ruin. And this is the 4th one. And they say the people came into this world through the Sipapu. Sipapu means the emergence place, or the place of emergence, or the emergence tunnel. And they say the Sipapu was located out where the Little Colorado River and the main Colorado River meet, in the middle of the Grand Canyon, the junction of the rivers. And if you hike down the Little Colorado River Gorge, which you can do in some places, you've got a few miles up the river from the actual junction point, you can see this big, solid white stone dome with a big hole in the top. It's a freshwater spring. The water coming out of that hole, and there's a lot of calcium in the water, so it's building up this kind of white rock dome as the calcium builds up as it's overflowing. And if you were there as a member of the Hopi tribe, they'd say, yeah, we'll talk to you with the emergence place in this world. Going that thought real quick, start looking out the right side windows. This is just the little one. Again, just the little one. There's when people came into the world. You go, well, that's cool, but it's full of water. What's up with that? And they'd say, well, yeah, the last world flooded. It's coming all the way to the top. It's still coming out, obviously. But you have to know that for context. Sipapu, or 4th world, Sipapu, the emergence place out where the rivers meet. Because according to the Hopi, back when things began, in time, which is different, the Great Kachina, one of those spirits I mentioned, the Great Kachina of the sun, Kawa, from his breath, he created the first world. And in that world, it was populated by insect-like beings. The direct translation is ant-people, but insect-like beings. And after a time, these insect-like beings are just content with their life. They want something more, they want something better. So they ask Kawa for help. So what Tawa did, or in some cases his son, or his nephew, did, on the story, was create grandmother spider woman, or grandmother spider, or the spider. She had several titles, and they instructed her to help the insect-like beings. So, grandmother spider woman went to the insect-like beings, wrapped her silks around their bodies, and she carried them off and away to the second world. Once in the second world, she began to strip her silks from their bodies, but some of her silks clung to them and became all manner of fur, teeth, claws, and they became the beasts of the world. And after a time, the beasts of the world, they killed these beasts and belonged to something more, something better was possible. They went back to Grandmother Spider-Woman and asked her once again for some help. Grandmother Spider-Woman led the beasts of the world to the edge of the second world. And once there, at the edge of the second world, she passed out over the edge a rope bridge she had woven out of yucca fiber. And she instructed the beasts to cross the yucca rope fiber bridge to the third world beyond. The beasts did this. But as they began crossing the yucca rope fiber bridge, great gusts of wind blew up from the place between worlds, the spot between. So strong, so powerful were these gusts of wind that they blew some of the fur and claws off of some of the beasts. And those that it did became the people. And for a time, the people lived long, happy, rich lives in the third world. Life was good, life was plentiful. Everyone had what to eat of nothing, and they desired to be many. Unfortunately, some of the people had darkness in their hearts. Again, just little one, they had darkness in their hearts. They were greedy, they were malicious. They only longed for the pain and suffering of others, forgot the ways of cheat. So what some of the people, the good people, just people did, was they went to Grandmother Spider-Woman and Tawa and once again asked them for some help. Tawa instructed Grandmother Spider-Woman to take a great river reed, a hollowed out river reed, up into the sky of the third world, so that the good people, the just people, might climb through and ascend through the sky above their heads, through the earth and stone above them into the fourth world above of the world. Grandmother Spider-Woman did this. Unfortunately, there was a lot of water up there. It began cascading down the river reed and flooding the third world. So Grandmother Spider-Woman did the second great river reed and kind of put a cockeyed up against the first. So that the good people, the just people, could escape, leaving only those with the darkness in their hearts, and the destruction and indignation of the third world, always to be forgotten, just as they have forgotten the ways of the king. So the good people, the just people, they ascended up to the sky above their heads, the earth and stones above them, through the four great caverns, and eventually emerged out to the sea bubble, the emerging splits where the rivers meet. Holding that thought, if you want a picture on the other side of this hill, it's your last chance to do it before we get into the park. This is the last chance to see the little Colorado River. Right here, just the little one. If you visit here, what you'll have to do is turn all the way around past this hill, and if you visit there, we won't see it again until we're in the park. So that's it. If you visit there, got to turn all the way around, get past this hill. Otherwise, not another chance. They made it through the sea bubble, emergence place. About 5 tribes worth of people made it through. And once here, they began to ascend the walls of the Great Canyon. For many days, they ascended the walls of the Great Canyon. Until finally, on the 5th day, they reached the rim of the Great Canyon. And there, waiting for them on the rim, were 2 great Kachina. The first was one we've heard a bit about already, was played a bit of blood in the story, was Tawa, great Kachina of the sun. By his side was the second great Kachina. This Kachina's name was Masao, the skeleton, the great Kachina of death. And Masao beheld the people and he said to them, "This world is my world, and I am thankful for the fit. But you are the good, the just people. So I will give this world to you on one condition, that you must learn to care for it as I do, and not forget the ways of the teaching." And that very much is in the Hopi mindset. It's not an exaggeration to say culturally that's kind of built in. I mean, they do all kinds of things. They love certain projects that they do, but there's always this whatever it is they're doing, whether it's anti-air or what's around them, or whatever it is they're doing. It's actually where their tribal name comes from. Hopi is not what they call themselves to each other. And Hopi is a term they use for outsiders. It's very particular to them. But Hopi is what they refer to that worldview as. Kind of live life as it comes with the air. What Hopi itself directly translates to mean is look at the world behaved like, look at the world behaved like. And if you have that mindset, if you have hope, you know hope, you and be hope, then you are up to people. If the sound movement is only two ways they can properly learn to care for this world. The first thing the sound is imparting upon the people is great gift, the gift of death. Until then, the people would live long lives, full lives. They don't like perish when they fell in battle, or chose to join the spirits or go into another mode of living. But now, the time the world was finite, the time the world would be precious to them. Now it makes the world precious to them. Therefore, they were careful. The second thing Masao told them, they must go out. They must spread to all parts of the world. They must go out as far as they can until there's nowhere left. So they can all the way back around and return to Sipam. Only once they've seen the width and breadth of this world do they properly know how to care for it. So, what these five tribes did is in fact time a stone, and they moved it to the tribal history line. And they broke it into 5 pieces. That way, they went out across the world in their own direction. If ever they made it back to Sipam, the merchant's place, and someone was sitting there waiting for them and said, "Who are you?" They could hold up their rock and go, "This one, where these guys." And according to the Hopi, that's happened 4 times. 4 of those tribes have made it back. They're still waiting on that 5th tribe. They said that 5th tribe wandered off to somewhere. Haven't seen them since. They're still waiting. Now, coming out of origin mythos for a minute, and into reality, scientifically, there is credence for part of their origin story in that the Hopi have a very unique genetic marker, even amongst other Native Americans. And that same genetic marker has been found across huge swaths of the North American continent. It's been found as far north as southern Canada, and south of Calgary, and Montana, Idaho, North Dakota area, through the majority of Central America, as far east as the western bank of the Mississippi, kind of over in Arkansas, Texas area, and the northern bank of the Ohio River, kind of southwestern Ohio, southeast Indiana. In addition to that, most of the places they found that genetic marker, not all, not 100%. Places they found that, the people who were there or are there, speak a very similar root language base. The Hopi speak a version of something called the Aztec language. And most of the places they found that genetic marker, people where there are there, not all, 100%, speak a very similar root base on that. It's kind of like, think how English and German are cousin languages of each other. They both have old Germanic, similar kind of thing. In addition to that, genetic marker, root language base. Places they found that. People who were there are there, not all of them, 100%. Places they found that stuff. People had a very similar origin in those. We're in some version of the world down the line. Sometimes it's only number 2, sometimes it goes up to number 7. And they're usually waiting on someone or something to show up. Whether it's a lost tribe, a god, a deity, a spirit, a divine people, a cultural hero. Someone wandered off that way, haven't seen them. They're still waiting. The Aztecs, down in Tenochtitlan, modern day Mexico City, they spoke Aztecan, the Aztecan language. They had that genetic marker. I believe they, in their mythos, they thought we were number 5, I think. And it's part of their mythology, one of their great deities, Quetzalcoatl, feathered serpent, flew off into the sunrise, and one day they would return with their divine people. Which is why, when the Spanish showed up, they came from the east, these big things no one had seen before, looking kind of different, big, shiny. The Aztecs said, "Oh my gosh, are you that? Are you those divine people we heard about?" And the Escalona, which is one of the reasons the Spanish could conquer. Well, they're going to conquer the Aztec easily by that point anyway. They had muskets, but they can kind of undermine some stuff. Because, oh no, we're those people. And once the Spanish started making their way north, they were getting down to that desert we were just down inside of, stumbling across open pueblos. They were dehydrated, starving, tired. They did not know to prepare for a desert. Stumbled across open pueblos and said, "Hey, will you let us in there? Let us get some water. We're starving, dehydrated, tired." And the Portuguese were kind of paranoid about the Spanish. I assume because they had been hearing what was going on down south there by that point. But these could be the guys who were waiting on. So they decided to take the Spanish for a series of tests. Question 1. You got the rock? No. No, we don't have the rock. Well, that's okay. It's been a long time. You could have dropped it. Things happen. So they have lots of oral traditions, cultural traditions, historical traditions, things that presumably this long-lost tribe would know. Spanish failed miserably. So Hopi said, no, we'll bring some clean water down to you, but you're staying down there. You're not coming in. What all this goes to imply is that at one point, there was this middle ancient culture, or something not particularly defined ancient culture, that spread very far across the North American continent. And kind of seeded places from time to time. And either they developed very similarly differently. Either some went out and made packs, or more than likely, some never left. It's mostly one of the reasons why most of us have done this. If you show a picture of those step pyramids down in central Mexico or Belize and things, remember the Hopi tribe, they'll look at that and go, yeah, we made that. Or there's kind of this thing called the Serpent Mound, an ancient native mound structure in southwestern Ohio. Kind of like a boiled serpent from above. Show a picture of that to a member of the Hopi tribe, and they'll go, yeah, we made that. They know they went out across the board and they did. But like I said, they're still waiting on our 5th tribe to show up. And for me, they can go on waiting. Just because according to the Hopi, when that 5th tribe shows up, that's supposed to mark the beginning of the end of the 4th world and the transition into the 5th. You know, I've got enough going on. I don't need to rearrange it about much. But they're up and around this area, like I said before they got moved, so we'll talk about them again as we get into some of the human history of the canyons and kind of how to get up here. But they're very nice people to Hopi. Actually, I'll tell you